in the United States. It's almost a stupid answer. It's so obvious. Obviously, it's a war between the North and the South. Now there are different theories about this sectional conflict, and there are the Beards. Charles and Mary Beard have the famous thesis that this is about a capitalist, bourgeois. They use this kind of Marxist analysis. Northern society that is at odds with this old feudal or agrarian agricultural South. They have fundamentally different economies. These economies generate different kind of political values, political systems, and different cultures. And this cultural clash is basically what drives this sectional conflict throughout U.S. history. So, fundamentally, we have fundamentally different economic systems, and I think that's hard to avoid. We see that in the tariff disputes in the early 19th century. Matter of fact, the first example of nullification, well, the first example is the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions that come up with the Alien and Sedition Acts. But later on, we see nullification coming up as an issue with tariff issues. Now, the South is exporting cotton. The North is trying to manufacture goods in competition with Great Britain. The North likes protective tariffs. When protective tariffs go up, the Southerners, who import everything and export cotton, they're screwed. So the Southerners naturally hate tariffs. They'd rather have no tariffs. But they basically can't swing that. They're basically, and that's where we see the first threat of secession from the South is actually on the issue of tariff issues in the 1820s. And that's where I think some of you can remember the Tariff of Abominations and all these tariff. Tariff is a very boring subject, but it is the first sort of issue that is really a sectional issue, where we see this issue of nullification of secession coming up. Slavery has been an issue since the Constitution, and it goes all the way back to the Three-Fifths Compromise. And we see, and we basically agreed that we were going to get rid of slavery by 1808. We were going to end the importation of slaves. After 1808, remember, all the slaves in the United States are basically homebred. You can trade within the United States. You have to grow your own, basically, with slaves. The other issue that comes up as we go on, that's really sort of exacerbating the sectional tension as we get to the Civil War, is the fact that the United States is expanding territorially throughout this early history. And every time, and in the beginning of this territorial expansion, we're basically we had the Northwest Ordinance. Now, the Northwest Ordinance which happens during the Articles of Confederation. That's one of the pieces of legislation during the Articles of Confederation that has, gold standard. That's the great achievement of the Articles of Confederation before the Constitution. We basically do two things. We institute a